Welcome to the Wild Grace podcast, where authenticity isn't a choice, it is your calling. Real, raw, untamed. This is your initiation into the wild. Hello and welcome to the Wild Grace podcast. I am your host, Mallika Foord, and today I want to discuss with you what wild grace actually is. The way that wild grace came about was that I had with my business partner this motto, let's fucking go with grace. And the reason for that is because I am a bull in the china shop. My mum used to say to me all the time, you're like a bull in the china shop. I'm now 36 and I've had moments where my partner, my beloved, has said, you're like a bull in the china shop. So I'm beginning to accept that I have like this robust energy that just wants to get things done. And my business partner was always called a bull at the gate. So we set this motto up to remind ourselves that while we are going full force with our ambition and drive to make impact in the world and like fulfill our dreams and, you know, pursue our passions, that it needs to be done with this certain level of grace. So we said, let's fucking go with grace. However, I was on an ayahuasca retreat and Aya told me that it's not just grace, because when I think of grace, I am not a graceful human. I am rough around the edges. I'm wild. I'm untamed. I'm rude. Well, I would say I'm direct, but a lot of people think that I'm blunt and I'm rude and I come across way too fierce. And for that, people are scared of me or avoid me. You either love me or you hate me. So Aya said to me, it's wild grace. What you walk with is wild grace. And it all just came in like Tetris for me, because yes, I am wild grace. I am the untamed grace. And when I think about what wild grace means to me, what I see is this wild horse galloping through the mountains with its mane just like blowing in wind. I see a medicine woman at the top of a cliff doing magic with her robes like just lifted up in the elements as she holds fierce gaze with her magic and what she's doing. I picture a ballerina taking a leap of faith in complete trust that she will be caught. And I was like, that is me. I am wild grace. I am wild. I am untamed, yet I am contained. And so wild grace was born. I'm just going to get everyone on this podcast who interprets life in this way of wild grace, like people living life on the edge, because it really is. You are a surfer on the tidal wave of life, and at any moment you could fall off that surfboard and you could get fucking pounded by the reef. But you don't. You hold on, you balance, you're riding this wave of life. And there is this sense of epicness in that, and also gratitude and love and all of the things that make life worth living, like the things that get you up in the morning. I am surrounded by humans who are so inspiring. And so I'm very excited to have them on and talk about what wild grace means to them and how they live it on a everyday basis. Because life is a journey. Life is, we're going through some massive changes and the world is coming to a place like we've never known it before. Like we've never really known the world the way we know it right now. And it's scary for a lot of people. We've got AI coming in. We have new energies. We're in the age of Aquarius. And I don't know if you feel it, but I feel the bigness, and a lot of the bigness that some people feel is scary. The best thing that we can do is step into our true authentic self. And that is something that I'm still learning every single day, is to just live my truth, my authenticity, and not be afraid of being outcasted, because my whole life I have felt like I do not belong. Like I've been outcast so many times, rejected constantly. And over time that wears down on you. It weighs you so far down that you feel like fitting in feels easier. But as you fit in and people like you and you build a community, you feel like a fake. You feel like a fake. Well, I felt like a fake. I felt like a fake because the community that I've built around me is based on the person that I am not. I was living to feel like I belonged when the truth is I do not fit in. I fit in like a bull in a china shop. I fit in like a wild horse in the mountains. Like, I am not really here to fit in. I'm not here to be a sheep. I'm here to be a fucking dragon. And I know that there's others out there that feel the same. Like, society has deemed anything out of the norm, I guess, unacceptable. And we have been told rules and morals and ways of being that suit a lot of people, but it doesn't suit everyone. And I have definitely had a rebellious energy my entire life, but the more you rebel, the harder life becomes. And so I kind of learnt that actually if the best way to rebel is to play the game and to be in the system, but change the system from the inside. And so there's a certain like relationship that I've built with life to be my true authentic self, but never try to fit in, because I'm not meant to fit in, and maybe neither are you. One of the biggest lessons that I've learned recently is in my human design, I'm a manifester. Manifestors are like 12% of the population, and we are taught that we need to be like a generator. Generators are amazing. They literally run the world. They can go and go and go. They can work long hours. They can follow their dreams. They literally can just do it. They respond to their environment, so they can just do it. Manifestors need a lot of rest. We need space and time for our visions to come through. Yeah, my whole life I have definitely tried to be a generator. Like my whole teens from 14, my whole 20s, I worked really fucking hard. I did the grind. I was a personal trainer. I'd wake up at 4:30. My last client was like at 8:30. And sure, I had some rest time in between the day, but I definitely was working, and I don't feel like manifestors are meant to work hard at all. We are meant to work smart, and by working smart for a manifestor like myself, like many visionaries, you do need the time, you do need the space, and the space is the most important part for creation, because if you're not creating enough space, you have no room for any of the ideas to come in. That's why a lot of people say like the best ideas that they get are in the shower. Why? Because in the shower, you're usually by yourself and you're cleansing yourself with water, and you're generally not thinking, you're not doing, you're just being in the shower. You're being present with yourself, you're washing yourself, and that's when the ideas can actually channel through you. And a lot of people say that it's when they're on the toilet. Again, you're alone. So this just confirms to me that when you are alone, whether it be driving alone or any time that you are alone, these are really the times where you get the gifts. All of the gifts for your ideas. It's time for integration. And it's so important. It's so important. I didn't actually realize how important it was. And I guess over time, every time I integrate space more and more, I'm like, oh my God, it's even more important than I realized. It's even more important than I realized. I worked with a coach last year for 6 months, and it took me the whole 6 months of working with her to book time away alone without my family, my daughter, my friends, my lovers. And it was a really big step for me. And in that time, I got to, come back to myself, come back to my visions, my beliefs, who I am as a person, because I don't know about you, but I am a chameleon, and they say you are the 5 people that you hang around with the most. And so if you're hanging around with those people all the time, like I know that I'm my 4-year-old, I am my partner, and then whoever the other 3 are, I definitely morph into their attributes a lot as well, with like what they're wearing, what they get up to, their habits. So it's really interesting for me that, again, I am just so controlled by my environment and who I'm hanging out with. And so that's even more important to create the space for yourself so you can just come back to yourself. Because you don't really know who your true self is until you spend time alone with yourself to find out who you are. And so that is also a part of wild grace, because wild grace is courageous. It's super fucking courageous. It's like following your dreams, knowing it's really fucking scary, but you're going to do it anyway, because if you don't follow your dreams, part of you dies inside. Think about that. And it might not feel like such a big death to not follow your dream, but year after year after year of suppressing that idea or dream or like true self that you are suppressing, guess what it causes? It causes disease, dis-ease in the body. I was literally talking to a woman I know today who just had a hysterectomy. She had her whole womb cut out because 21 years she was in a relationship. She had 4 kids and she was suppressing her truest desires. And a lot of us do this for the kids. A lot of us put the kids first. I've seen it happen in my own family with my mum and dad. They put us first no matter what. And it was such a beautiful service. And thanks, mum, thanks, dad, like I love you. However, what this suppression causes, like especially with this chick who just had a hysterectomy, she had 2 tumors removed that were this size, like the size of a cantaloupe. And after speaking with her today, she was saying that it was suppressed emotion. It was suppression of her truest desires. Like, who knows if she wanted to leave that relationship? But 21 years with suppression, that's what it can cause. I know for my mum and dad, they stayed together because of the kids. When my dad told me that he kind of fell out of love with my mum, I think when I was really young, I felt like all of our childhood memories didn't quite mean the same anymore, because there was this certain element of them not being their truest self because they weren't following their truest desires. And it hurt because I just thought about all of the times where I was in such joy and knowing that they were in joy because we were in joy. However, there was a little part of them that wished for something different. It hit me really hard. It almost felt like I couldn't trust them anymore because they were people pleasing. They were people pleasing us. And so I've got a thing for people pleasers now. Like if I find out that any one of my people around me are people pleasing me, obviously something I need to work on. But if they're just like on my peripheral and they're not a part of my intimate crew, I will literally just say goodbye to them because I don't trust them. I don't trust their yeses, and neither do they, because they will say yes in the moment but not really feel the yes. And then they'll say no later, but by that time I've already vested my time and energy into their yes, and then it's a no. And yeah, it definitely pisses me off. I like literally just recently let go of someone who's a beautiful, beautiful person, but she said to me from the start that she was a recovering people pleaser. And I think we've been like connected for 1.5 years, and I didn't realize she was people pleasing me the whole time. I thought that, like, you know, she's like a little bit flaky here and there, but yeah, the evidence added up and it just all clicked, and I was like, she's told me from the start that she's a recovering people pleaser, and she's been saying yes to me the entire time because she can't say no, because she's still recovering from being a people pleaser. And I'm such a truth seeker in that way. Like I value the truth more than anything else, no matter how much it hurts, no matter how much it might make chaos around me. I need the truth to survive. And so yeah, I let her go, and yeah, still have a lot of love for you, by the way. And yeah, just not someone that I want close to me. And that for me is also a part of wild grace. It's like being really fucking discerning about who you're hanging out with, because they are shaping you in some way or another. And I remember when I decided to be very discerning about who I was hanging out with, and this may sound really fucking cold to some people, but I was going through a phase in my life where I didn't really have a lot of income coming in. I was on Centrelink, and all of these people around me were also struggling with money. They didn't know how to hold money. They didn't really make money. They spent more than they had. And I was getting close to some of them, but I did a meditation, and I kept on thinking about, you are the 5 people that you hung around the most. And I was like, if I am going to continue my relationship with all of these people that are struggling with money, I'm never, ever going to integrate the abundance codes the way that I want my life to reflect, because I felt so rich on the inside. And then my external world didn't quite reflect that. And I was choosing people that were reflecting where I was with my money story. I made a choice in that moment that I was going to ease back away from these people and relationships where money was an issue, because I believe that money doesn't have to be an issue. And when you're really fucking solid in something, it doesn't matter who you hang around. Like if you're really fucking strong in your values and you're an integrated human, I reckon you can hang around with anyone. But I'm not there yet. I am not there yet. I can't wait to be there, but I am not there yet. I am still heavily manipulated by my environment and who I hang around with. So I could let go of those people. And I think I even told them why. Hopefully I did it in a compassionate way. But yeah, I think I said like just our values aren't aligning. And just to skip forward a little bit, within a 2-year period, I broke up with my partner. I let go of all of those friends. I moved down to the Gold Coast. I started hanging around with people that were doing like 10K months. It's a good start. And then started to hang around with people that had built $1 million businesses, and then started to hang around with people that were retired at 40 and had made multi-million of dollars. And it started to reflect in my life. I really did. I'm a true believer as well that you accept abundance in any way it comes. Because as soon as you say no to abundance, you're telling the universe that you do not want abundance. So if someone offers you, can I buy you a coffee? And you say no, you're telling the universe that you don't want shit bought for you. Or you can't accept gifts. And so I believe that all abundance is a gift, no matter what form it comes in. And I take no pride in how, meaning that if someone wants to help me out, my ego is not going to stand in the way of accepting that. So there was a few years where I was just in the openness of accepting what came my way. And I just said yes to everything. I said yes to everything that was coming to me with gratitude. I was like, wow. And from that, like I'm still in awe of people's generosity during that time of when I was not really in my most abundant frequency. But yet I was living this abundant life because others were being so fucking generous. And I worked through the shame piece of like feeling like I had nothing to offer. But a lot of them would tell me like, just your presence. And I was just like, what? Just me being me is enough for all of this? Like it really was. It was humbling, and just I was just in awe that the universe could work in such magical ways. I traveled all around America, South America, and I was just constantly guided and gifted and just so sought out. It was like synchronicity in motion, like that whole time of my life. And so, yeah, I feel like I was living in flow, and I was living in wild grace, because if anyone that was looking at my life at that stage, they'd be like, are you okay? Because I had just so much faith and trust that I was going to be okay. And while my family might have been worried about me, I just knew that it would all be okay in the end. And it always is. Like things are always working out for me. They always do. You just really have to follow the breadcrumbs, because it's going to lead to a loaf of bread, guaranteed. So yeah, I just wanted to do a little quick intro on what wild grace means to me and how I walk with wild grace. And I really want to be integrity with that. Like I want to be the living, breathing proof that wild grace can exist in a human. It doesn't have to be a horse. And yeah, just keep leaning into that. And so if you're curious, as I am, I will see you on the next podcast. Until then, thank you for listening and have a magical, magical day. Thank you so much for listening. If you like what you heard, like and subscribe. And if you're ready to deepen your connection with the wild, the raw, and the untamed, explore the power of Blue Lotus with Blue Lotus Effect, awakening the mind, body, and spirit. Until next time, stay wild.